We just heard from the US Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, and he says the only path to peace is through strength, and Donald Trump unleashed a new golden age of America. What do you think he means by that?
Well, I think it's a recognition of the fact that when you're dealing with regimes and individuals like Nicolas Maduro, that occasionally there's a need for the use of force, because without that, you're simply ceding the ground to these individuals, these regimes, to again repress their own people, but also destabilize not only our hemisphere but the world. And you saw that certainly as far as the action, the response to that in the action against Nicolas Maduro, and you also saw it in Iran last year, very directly against the nuclear capacities that they were trying to build up. So there's a recognition certainly that we can't just tie our hands and look away at everything that is going on beyond our borders. And in fact, if we want to protect the American people, we need to engage very directly, particularly in the most egregious and dangerous threats that we see abroad.
What would you say to those people that are adamant about this being illegal under international law, the capture of Maduro and his wife?
Well, I'd say Nicolas Maduro is not a president or an elected leader, far less. He stole power after losing overwhelmingly an election. He decided to remain in power not only after stealing an election, but repressing his own people, causing, again, a massive migration crisis, refugee crisis, stealing and looting Venezuelan wealth for him and his cronies, and acted and certainly developed more than what he did was far less what a government looks like and more like a criminal enterprise. And in the end, that's exactly what Nicolas Maduro was running, and that's why the Trump administration opted to go in. This was a violation of U.S. law, which is what President Trump and the United States government needs to be concerned with, particularly when it comes to the safety of the American people.
And geopolitically, what does it mean for the Western Hemisphere? What will you be looking at closely?
Well, this is a very different Latin American Western Hemisphere than it was even 10 years ago. You've seen over the past few months, really, the rise of a series of pro-U.S. conservative leadership in elections in Argentina, Chile most recently, but also Bolivia, El Salvador, Honduras. You see a recognition from voters across the region, from people across Latin America, that the path that Nicolas Maduro, that socialism, that anti-Americanism has offered is one of destruction. And that's why you're seeing a lot of sighs of relief within Latin America. And I think there's going to be a lining up for much of the region to support particularly these efforts in Venezuela, but also align far more closely broadly with the United States on security issues, including narco trafficking.